The VGA currently has a survey open to everyone who works in blockchain gaming. So the survey ends when the conference ends. Okay, so please visit bit.ly/BGA-PH. Once again, that's bit.ly/BGA-PH before the weekend, okay? Next up, we have a panel discussion to talk about the importance of mobile gaming for Web3. I know a lot of you guys are interested with this topic. Now to lead a panel, may we call on Nicole Nguyen of APAC DAO. Hello. Joining Nicole, we have Zeno Rizab of Gamey. We also have Benjamin Chevalier of Might Bear Games. And of course, Tatsuya Tats Kurogi of Play Mining. Nicole, the floor is all yours.
So, hi everyone. So hope everyone is doing fine and warm down there. We still have a lot of parties today and this weekend, so hope you are here with us. I think like we are on the last day actually, but it's after 3 days partying, so I think we are at our best, to give for this panel. So I have, a distinguished panel today with speakers from, I think, all across the globe. And I would like to kickstart this panel by a round introduction by maybe Bozina, and then Tats. Maybe just talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing, your background, and then we can kickstart the panel. Bozina?
Hi, my name is Bojana. I'm leading in a co-founded company called GameMe. We have been building in mobile gaming space for 8 years. We have a large amount of global gaming audience playing free-to-play games on mobile, about 40 million. And the past 2 years, we started looking into using Web3 technology to build products differently. And now we have 2 new products live with 2.5 million wallets. So I can see how the company has transformed some of the thinking and strategies transformed, and we basically went from building in Web 2 into building in Web 3, as well as part of Animoca brands now.
Hi, I'm Tots from Play Mining. Our company name is Digital Entertainment Asset, and we operate the platform called Play Mining, which is a GameFi platform where you can play and earn crypto. And yeah, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Global Business for DEA. And I'm really excited to be here today.
All right, so my name is Nicole. I'm from APAC DAO. So we are Asia's leading Web3 community, and we have over 1,400 plus members from 600 projects in Web3 in 10 countries in Southeast Asia. So we are doing a lot of these events and meetups, and also we're working on a decentralized launchpad to support the Web3 builders in APAC. So, I mean, actually, I have met Bozina like virtually, I think last year, and Tats as well, like virtually before COVID. So we had a couple of these, I think metaverse conferences where we discussed a bit about, I think, mobile gaming as well as Web 2 and Web 3 gaming as well. So very excited to be with you in person today, just to gather your thoughts on mobile gaming. Actually, I have taken some liberty to input some questions about the generic gaming scene as well, so that we can have, I think, a better look at how this mobile gaming is working towards, Web3 mass adoption, but also want to collect to get like their opinions on what are some of the latest trends or some of the tactics for gaming builders to survive in this market. So I think to kickstart this panel, the first question I think would be, a tricky one. So we have covered a lot of the topics about market situation these days, and actually GameFi has experienced some downtrends since the beginning of this year. So I think this is definitely a tough time for Web3 and especially gaming companies. I think my first question is, of course, how do you think about, I think the blockchain gaming movement at the moment, is it coming to a halt, or is there any hope for some growth, or how this blockchain game is going to move forward? Maybe Bozina, you want to start first?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I would start from maybe on a more positive note. and that it has never been a better place to be in gaming than now. And it's just amazing, the growth. And we don't even have to look at Web3, we can look at gaming as an industry. It has seen enormous growth in terms of downloads, in terms of revenue, in terms of engagement of players, in terms of different intersections of gaming, music, fashion. You know, it's all coming together, and gaming is at the massive central stage like it's never been before, which also means that the gaming traditional industry basically became kind of new Hollywood, right? It's the massive stage and very competitive space, especially mobile gaming is very competitive space. I think there's over 1 billion new downloads of different gaming apps every week, which tells you on one hand side there is a lot of demand, but there's also a lot of builders around that are doing an amazing job. Now, the competitive aspect of that is actually pushing the quality very, very high. Now, what do we have as an industry to offer? And this is something you have heard over the past 2 days, is we offer something the gamers that play these 1 point something billion new downloads every week, they don't own anything inside those games. So we have something that's very unique, like unique proposition. We understand this is the future, we believe in it, and we just have to figure out what is the best magic, what is the best meeting of this proposition with the amazing content that's being built in games. And frankly speaking, we're not there. We don't know. Like, we're still experimenting. We're figuring out what works. Some games take a peak, but even the top peak of Web3 games is nothing compared to the size of the gaming industry, which only means the opportunity is still ahead of us, and it's only ours to lose.
Yeah, I agree with Bozina as well. I'm more on the positive side as well. As an industry, there are some bad news, like the whole FTX news, but like Crypto.com's report as well about how blockchain games are seeing 10x growth of traditional games, and blockchain games will be the future of gaming. So just to speak from from Japan's perspective as well, in Japan we're seeing a lot of development going on under the surface. So I think probably next month, early next year, we're going to see a lot more announcements of traditional big Web2 gaming companies coming into the Web3 gaming space. So it's just getting started. We're still very early, and I think there's going to be a lot more coming.
So I think you have touched upon, I think, the larger mainstream kind of market, right? So Bozina talked about the billions downloads, and we know that, of course, there are actually more than 1 billion kind of gamers out there who haven't actually got onboarded with Web3 just yet. So it's not just Japan, but of course, a lot of these markets in Asia specifically, I think, are still pretty much have a lot of potentials to grow in this Web3 gaming. So I think the next question, I want to come back to the topic a little bit about mobile gaming. I think basically it's undeniable that mobile should be one of the way to go with games, especially with I think with some specific game genres. So in your opinion, what do you think is the difference between Web2 and Web3 mobile gaming? Is there anything that you have to consider specifically when you develop mobile gaming for Web3 space, the Web3 mobile gaming? Maybe Tats, you want to start first?
Yeah, so I could speak based on Play Mining's experience and how we've approached developing more. So this will be more of how we approach developing Web3 games. Apps for games is the best for Web2, for sure. But Web3, there's just too many regulations, uncertainty in also the platform fees regarding blockchain game NFT sales. So how we approached it is we've started off by creating HTML browser-based games. So we have 5 games that are live, and they're all from the mid-core to casual level games that are available on browser. So it doesn't limit what device you can play on. You could play on iOS or Android. You could play on the PC. And that was our first step to make blockchain gaming, Web3 gaming more accessible across the board.
Yeah, so I have to agree with you and build up on that point. The core of it does not differ, right? So as a game creator, you would look into, you would build your core game first, and then you would look into retention on the phase day 1, day 7, day 30. and you would keep improving that, and then you would add the meta game, and you would do more and more iterations, and then you start optimizing the monetization, like where's the flow of the money. Now with Web3, this is a little bit different because we're trying to see the value distribution differently, just between, traditionally, between the game creator and the small percentage of amount of people that purchase assets from the game creator. We're trying to see how the value can be distributed more, let's say, differently, right? And still figuring out that. So there is a difference in that, in the business model, in the economy, which comes down to the genres might even be different, right? So you have heard Sebastian speaking about Sandbox. So he is creating a new genre. He's creating a completely new experience that has the essence, the ownership in the center. And there will be many more genres that will be coming. On top of it, there are those small tactical things that, like, does Apple allow us to do this or not? Or do we have to move into a browser or native? We have seen that the native apps are super powerful. If we had the same game and we moved it to a mobile browser, same game built natively, it just has a better stickiness, better retention if it's native. It's just like different reasons. It's just more powerful. So fortunately, unfortunately, App Store and Google Play are built around the rules and the best practices for Web2 games. And until recently, there have been no rules about what companies that want to build with ownership can or cannot do. Recently, there have been first rules announced. At least we have some guidance, but it's not enough. And of course, we have to understand companies like Apple will be protecting their business model until the moment they figure out differently, or we figure out differently.
Okay, I think that you also touch on one of the sensitive points about the centralized platforms, right, and App Store, for example. So I think for a lot of the game developers out there, especially in Web3, at the moment, especially in this current market, of course, they have to face with a lot of these constraints in terms of resources, in terms of market situation, and of course, with the cost of developing their games, if they have to stick with some traditional platform like App Store. So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow if they enforce some different rules for NFTs or Web3 games, right? So my next question, I think also would go back to your company and also for yourself. Like, what are some of the strategies and tactics for you to survive in this market? And is there anything that some of the founders and builders here can learn from you to apply, let's say in developing the games? Just like some words of wisdom that you can you can share back to the founders here. So, Bozina?
Yeah, we have heard that from previous speakers that this is the builders market, which I feel good about. It's builders market is a great one, actually, because you can reuse the skill set we have from building games, which is you keep working until it works, and it's never the first shot. If you look back at the most successful game creators and game studios, how many games or how many iterations are behind some of their most successful titles, you would easily look into hundreds. So it's building until it works, and now it's a great time to do so.
Yeah, I agree. I believe how we approach this is just be as lean as possible, especially now. So just to put everything, like the tens of millions of dollars, into one game. And let's say if you're doing like a tokenomics, managing a token economy and creating a game, there's two different complexities to this. So how we've done it is do a smaller scale and reiterate and create multiple genres and test as well, and then keep optimizing. So that was our strategy and how we've gone, and we're lucky that our flagship title, Job Tribes, was a hit. It helps us keep growing and developing more, and also understanding how to create an efficient and sustainable token economy as well. So I think for game developers, we need to learn and understand the tokenomics and how we include the tokenomics and utilities of the NFTs in the game as well. So all these elements in it, I think having the test and trial and doing small scale and trying out a lot is the best way to go right now, instead of going all in on one. And that's our philosophy on how we've approached building our games.
I think personally speaking, there's a lot of, I see there's a lot of similarities, let's say, between Web2 and Web3 games, especially in this critical kind of period, right? So I think Bozina talked about reiterations, and Tats, you mentioned about the utilities and how we should kind of work back or improve on the experience or the game itself for the users. Basically, these are some of the fundamentals that I think in the boom market, we would not have time to actually look back into this. And with Web3, there are so many other different tools, like with tokenomics, or also I think with the utilities and the NFTs, that we can actually bring more ownership to the gamers. And I think this has not been highlighted enough, in all of the, has been highlighted a lot in all of the panels before.
Yeah,
so
I think I'd like to add on to that too.
Of course.
So from where we're at now, what we're developing is a new game next year called Soul Fusers. But this one is utilizing the Web3 elements in it, where we're democratizing the game design process. So we have our community members create the monsters with the game producers, and we vote, and whichever monster gets chosen by the community, they get inscribed in the NFT, and they'll be on the smart contract. So then they'll receive royalties every time this monster gets traded in that game. So we're thinking, okay, we can really use the blockchain and NFTs and smart contracts to get the community to come and create the game together. So the game creation process becomes part of the game now. So you can own part of the game literally. And I think that's something that we're really excited about for next year.
Definitely, definitely. Is there any news you want to share with everyone about GameMe, Bozina?
So our main, one of the main topics that we have been working on, and is going to be a big one for next year as well, is interoperability. This has been some type of a magic word that has been spelled too many times. And in our interpretation, what we have done this year is that we have a gaming competitive platform called Arcade, and there are 15 games. And some of the games require NFT, some of the games do not. There is a game currency on chain, and we did several different partnerships where we used NFTs as a bridge to different communities. I'll give you an example. The most recent one, we partnered with Cool Cats, and everybody who owned a token, Cool Cat or Cool Pet, based on the ownership, could wallet connect to Arcade, and based on the ownership of the NFT, they got access to extra tournament that was sponsored by Polygon. If somebody's listening from Polygon, thank you very much. So there was like a triangle of somebody who sponsored the prize pool, a community outside of our current gaming community we invited over to a game we created, and we have done this multiple times. And like what we want to do next year is to double down on this. We have done 15 different partnerships like that, and each time it was us thinking about, who could be the partner, who could be the, what could be the prize pool, what could be the game. So we want this to decentralize and give that as a tool to people to run their own tournaments with their own choice of token based on ownership of their NFTs. And we remain as game creators. So we create games and people will be able to modify and use it for their own tournaments. So this is type of a decentralization / interoperability game. And the second project we're very actively working on is our game characters, robot themed, have been launched in 2 games. We're launching a third one and 2 more with external partners. So there will be eventually 5 games for one set of game characters, different genres, different use cases, and not all of the games are ours, which I'm super excited about because it's a hell of a learning how to make that happen, but it's very exciting. That's why we're in this.
Okay. So I think we are coming, to the to wrap up the panel. But I think we have ended with some positive notes. I think the opportunities for partnership, collaboration, and I think there's a lot of innovation in this kind of whole onboarding and rampings for users and game developers to Web3 as well. So maybe, fortunately, we might have some time to work on it while waiting for the market to get warmer. And I think that this is basically, of course, it's going to help, I think, with Web3 game developers, the indie developers, and even with the Web2, let's say, companies or clients who want to slowly get on board with Web3. So those are some of the, I think, hopefully, are some of the positive notes that we can conclude out of this panel. So thank you very much for your time and the panelists for contributing your thoughts, and hope to discuss a little bit later on collaboration. So if you guys want to reach out to them, feel free to let us know. Yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, enjoy Web3 Festival. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Keep building.
All right, so thank you so much, Nicole, Bozina, and Tatsuya.